Road accidents are the second highest cause of death in Dubai after heart and cardiovascular diseases. What makes the issue even more critical is the fact that the toll of traffic accidents is more prominent among the youth, which is the productive segment of society. This is according to Major General Dahi Kalvan Taman, Dubai police chief. In 2021, an average of one person was killed every 5 days in traffic accidents. Traffic fatalities account for 13% of the death toll, while heart and cardiovascular diseases accounts for 23% of deaths in Dubai. In addition, traffic accidents proportionally claim more lives in the UAE compared to the US, and some European countries. Dubai police is trying its best to curtail these serious accidents and taking steps such as educating motorists on safe driving habits, fixing radar cameras on the roads to clamp down on speeding, and slapping fines on erring drivers, among other measures. At the beginning of 2019, a massive 9-month series of traffic campaigns was launched as part of a long-term campaign to combat the spiraling numbers of road accidents and traffic deaths. The campaign features a different theme and program for every month. So let us define a traffic accident as that which occurs unintentionally between one or more vehicles. In the UAE, they can then be classified according to severity into 2 categories: report accidents, and accidents which go to court. The ones that go to court include accidents which result in fatalities and any type of injury, in addition to serious damage to property. These also involve accidents caused by drunk driving and driving without a license. Disputed cases are liable to be looked into by the traffic court. The report accidents account for the majority of the incidents on the roads and involve medium and slight damage to property. In this case, drivers are given a vehicle repair report at the accident site. Traffic accidents are classified into 6 categories, and they include all types of collision of moving vehicles. The others are hitting pedestrians, overturning of vehicles, hitting stationary objects and animals, in addition to passengers falling from a moving vehicle. Much of the time, accidents are caused by risky driving or lack of concentration while behind the wheel. One of these is young people engaging in behaviors that have been linked with crashes. Speeding, seat belt use, driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, referred to as DUI, are major driving risk behaviors and were ranked first, second, and third when asking people about their own high-risk behaviors. The Roads and Transport Authority Dubai estimated that, of all fatal crashes involving speeding or alcohol, the motor vehicle occupants were not wearing seat belts. Past research, it has not been systematic in comparing the many factors related to the risky driving behaviors that are examined in the present research. Firstly, many studies have employed a general index of risky driving as the dependent variable, so results do not allow comparison of predictors across specific driving behaviors. Secondly, it is important to note that many factors have been studied in relation to a single behavior or just one other behavior. A few studies have examined a full range of behavioral factors. One such study concluded there were several indicators be paired with the likelihood of experiencing particular outcomes such as crashing into someone. We conducted a study to find that people who have used alcohol and/or recreational drugs and/or who don't wear seatbelts are statistically more at risk. This study considered factors that are specific to each behavior, as well as factors in general. Recent studies have shown the importance of specific factors. A dataset initially exclusively released by Dubai Police to SAS was used. The dataset consisted of 3,179 traffic incidents in Dubai during 2017. The dataset comprised of 19 attributes. The data recorded if there was no injury or death. The category of injury was recorded as minor, moderate, severe or fatal. The data only identified trauma or death of the driver and did not identify whether passengers were also injured or died in the accident. Neither did the data identify how many of the car occupants suffered trauma or fatality. There was some minor pre-processing of data with null values, filtering the tables, and categorizing accidents. A list of the categories for the cause of the accident is shown in Table 2. The analysis was done using SAS via a cloud-enabled, in-memory analytics engine. SAS-VIA allowed quick data preparation for analytics using machine learning and eye suggestions. This study was conducted in order to compare injury severity between those who used a seatbelt and those who did not. It turns out that the group of people who did not use a seatbelt were more likely to experience severe trauma and death than the ones who did use one. When investigating how seatbelt usage affected injury severity, the study group had 4 categories of injuries based on how they were related to the victim's seatbelt use. The results showed that the more severe injuries were more common in those without a seatbelt. Non-seatbelt users were more likely to experience severe trauma or die as a result of an accident than someone who happened to be wearing a seatbelt. In cases of death, non-seatbelt users were 65% more likely to die than someone who is seated properly with a seatbelt. Wearing a seatbelt drastically reduces the risk of injuries in traffic accidents. In accidents that caused severe trauma, non-seatbelt users had a 66.7% chance of suffering severe trauma, while seatbelt users only had a 10% chance. 4.8% of non-seatbelt users died in 2017, nearly half as many, out of all the people. If you don't wear a seatbelt when driving, then you are twice as more likely to die in an accident than if you do wear it. Also, 58.5% of accidents during the study involved non-belt users. Interestingly, seatbelt users were more likely to experience minor to moderate injuries than those who didn't use them. This higher rate of minor and moderate injuries in seatbelt users is not connected with seatbelt usage but more with driving skills. We looked into the age groups who have the most accidents next. The frequency of accidents in relation to age. The highest number of accidents happen when people are between the ages of 18 and 33. The frequency of accidents in the 24 to 27, 27 to 30, 30 to 36 and 33 to 36 age groups is more than 10%. Ordinarily, people in the 24 to 27 age group would be married and have a young family at the beginning of their careers. They would have a more responsible attitude to fulfill their commitments in life. This is not observed, which can be attributed to the local culture. There are more accidents at 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock and 2000 to 2100 than other time periods. The 2000 to 2100 group indicates when people are partaking in evening activities. The cause of accidents is largely due to breaking traffic laws and the subsequent lack of attention paid by drivers. After this time there's an increase in accidents during the 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock window that coincides with the closure of bars and nightclubs. From the analysis, 2 distinct categories can be identified. The first category is a specific group with accidents in time slot 6, 2000 to 2100. The leading cause of traffic accidents was due to breaking traffic laws, and the age group was between 18 and 25. Males dominated this category. Most of them had seat belts on, which led to minor injuries. The second category had accidents occurring in the first time slot. The vast majority were caused by recreational drugs, alcohol, and medication. Males also dominated this category. Most of them had seat belts on, which led to minor injuries. To explore the seat belt and drug use of individuals, another parallel coordinates analysis was done. It's evident that those who are buckled in are also driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol, or both. Further, alcohol consumption plays a more important role than the usage of drugs and medication in causing road accidents. Drivers under the influence of alcohol tend to use their seatbelts. This could be that the driver is aware that they are under the influence of alcohol and are taking precautions by wearing a seatbelt. This work has identified that there are a number of risk factors that can be used to identify drivers that are likely to cause a traffic accident. The severity of injury and the mortality rate are affected by the usage of seat belts. The critical identifying risk factors amongst Dubai car drivers include being male, 24 to 36 years of age. This age group scored 10% or more of the accidents. Driving between 2000 to 2100 and 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Using alcohol, drugs, or both. These identifying risk factors will enable governmental departments to suitably target such groups in educating them in the use of seatbelts and driving safely.